Please welcome Gyanda Sachdeva, Vice President, Product Management, LinkedIn.
Hopefully you know LinkedIn as the app that people go to when they're looking for a job. It's also the app that people go to when they're looking to fill a job opening. It's also the app that people go to when they're looking for an investor, a co-founder, or a customer. And underneath all the connections that are made by the millions every day, there's a really powerful professional network that gives us insights and access to trends across the global labor market. And we call it the economic graph. LinkedIn's economic graph is comprised of 850 million members across the globe. It has 59 million companies, 14 million jobs, 39,000 standardized skills, and 128,000 schools. It's like having a real-time lens into the fundamental shifts taking place across the world's economy. Over the last 7 years, the total number of founders globally has more than doubled. It was 2.6 million in 2015, and it's at 5.6 million today. In addition, these startups are hiring at a massive pace. They've almost doubled their hiring since their peers of 7 years ago. The employee base at startups has quadrupled in the last 3 years. 3 years that have been filled with macroeconomic uncertainty. What this tells us is that there has been tremendous progress, and there are many reasons to be optimistic. So today I want to share with you some insights and research around how to grow in a time like today's, how to use this time as an opportunity to get ahead. Let's take a look at these logos. What do all these companies have in common? All of these businesses were founded during economic downturns. It takes profound courage to start a business. But even the worst economic weather conditions does not control the entrepreneurship spirit, which is great news for all of us. In fact, we've seen this in the data in 2022. In the last 10 months, 274,000 new companies have been founded. And we're not talking about companies that did the paperwork and got registered. These are companies that opened up shop, that have hired people, that have a digital presence. In addition, 226,000 people became first-time founders. They took a risk in this environment. And many people have followed them. 1.1 million people have left their jobs at big companies to join these startups. In a business, we're hardwired to fear a recession and a downturn. But the reality is that the worst of times produces the best of businesses. Because it's relatively easy to succeed in good times when the market is booming. But only the most skilled professionals can make it through bad times. In fact, the first thing companies do when a recession hits is cut back their marketing spend. It's a knee-jerk reaction, and it's almost always the wrong one. The truth is that cutting back marketing spend in a downturn is a really bad idea. That companies that increased their marketing spend in a downturn are the ones that grew in the years following the recession. On the other side, the companies that decreased their marketing spend in a downturn are the ones that failed to grow in the short term and in the long term. You need to think beyond the recession because data shows that most recessions are quite short. So good weather or bad weather economically, you have to think about the long term. And the reality is that even when we are in good times, majority of your buyers are not in the market for your products and services. It's a hard, but it's the truth. 95% of buyers are actually future buyers. We call this the 95-5 rule in B2B or B2C. And when bad times hit, buyers delay purchase decisions, which makes the number of future buyers even larger. This is the 99-1 rule. In a time like this, many companies, including startups, cut back their marketing spend to focus on short-term sales. But that is a bad idea because the short-term sales opportunity was small to begin with, and it rapidly shrinks in a downturn. You need to figure out how your buyers will know about your brand when they re-enter the market. Smart investors know that downturns are buying opportunities, and hence the famous quote from Warren Buffett that when everyone else is being fearful, that's the time to be greedy. And similarly, smart founders should know that downturns are buying opportunities. So imagine you're in good times and you invested in marketing and you collected around 20 million impressions in your category. And let's assume the category is sized at 100 million. That means your share of voice is 20%. And let's assume your actual market share is 10%, which gives you excess share of voice of 10 points. This excess share of voice determines your future sales opportunity. And now let's say bad times hit. But you don't change your marketing strategy. You still get those 20 million impressions and probably at a much lower cost than before. But again, buyers will delay their purchases in bad times and the entire category will decline. So let's say that comes down to 80 million. Now, without changing your marketing strategy and potentially at a lower cost, you have increased your excess share of voice to 15 points. This is what should happen. However, it is very hard to maintain or increase your marketing spend in a downturn. I understand that. And so let's think about alternatives. Many startups will be on the look for marketing efficiencies. How can we make it easier and cost less in a time like this? rerun, refine, and reinvigorate. So when you think about the effectiveness of a marketing campaign, it comes down to two things. One is your creative, the message that you're trying to get out, and the second is your distribution. How is it getting out to people? When it comes to efficiencies in your creative budget, there's a very easy solution. Rerun your old creative. Maybe there are many marketers in the room. We all love to develop a new creative, make a big splash. But research shows that the most effective creative is the creative that has been running for a really long time. These campaigns have been running the exact same creative for several decades. It turns out that in advertising, a creative doesn't wear out, it wears in. Second question, how do you find efficiency in your distribution budget? So I want to remind you that the media supply chain is full of waste and fraud. At one point in time, a few years ago, Chase was running advertising on nearly 500,000 placements, and they decided to cut that down to 5,000. They saved a lot of money, but they did not sacrifice any results. You have to look very carefully at the distribution channels that you're using. When you're looking to buy third-party data for targeting, especially in B2B, there are some segments like IT decision makers, also known as ITDMs, that can be inaccurate almost 86% of the time. So it's really important that you don't waste your money on the wrong audience. When you're looking for the distribution channel, look for placements that give you premium context, on-target reach, and high attention format. And then finally, reinvigorate your organic presence. If I give you $100,000 to go buy a luxury car today, immediately there will be 3 to 5 brands that will pop up in your head. Why is that? Why do you have a mental shortlist ready to go for this category? Because of two things. One, all the advertising these cars have done, and you've seen those brands everywhere. And second, because you see what people are driving and what they're saying about the cars they drive. That's organic exposure. In a time like this, when budgets are tight, it's a really good time to reinvigorate your organic presence. Leverage all that is free. High attention formats like newsletters, podcasts, live video, events can help you build a community in bad times, which will help you in the good times. They will lower your effective cost per reach, make your marketing dollars go further. This strategy will help you save money in bad times and make money in good times.